So this is why you check to see if your fucking microphone is muted before you start talking for an hour. Only the first like minute and a half I'm muted, but more or less I talked about a video that I recorded before Lightfall came out and talking about the state of the game and my what I think is gonna happen for Lightfall, my predictions. Uh, I'm glad I didn't post it because again, I was completely wrong about I guess everything, and yeah, I more or less was hoping that things were gonna happen. Characters might die. It's gonna be an interesting story and all this other crap. Questions are gonna be answered and all this other crap. Like they might raise some more questions because Final Shape comes after, but there should be a lot of answering of questions. And yeah, I was completely fucking wrong. So glad I didn't upload it. But that's more or less what you. That's the first minute and a half of the video, and that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna cut back to the other thing. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. But yeah, I uh I beat it on legendary first camp, first day or whatever. I got a edict or whatever. I'm online, but I will say positive things first. First things first. This has probably been the best launch experience I've ever experienced for any Destiny, like in any Destiny update. Um, I got contacting Destiny servers every so often, but I was never kicked out of the game. Or whatever. Like day one experience, I actually got in after waiting like maybe 10 minutes in a queue, which is I'm super surprised. So there's that. Also, Strand is fun, has some problems. Not like it's not like Stasis at launch, but it's fun, and I think that's very important. I do like Strand a lot actually. Um, so yeah, Strand is fun. The day one experience is pretty good. Music's really nice. Also set, the usual shit Destiny gets right. Um, the guns being a reskin of the moon weapons is I can live with it. It's not the end of the world. I do find it funny though. I think on the grenade launcher, I don't have it on my character, but it does mention that like the weapons from Neo Moon are based off the prototypes on the moon, like the moon weapons. So that's why they look the same. Fair enough. You can do it like that. But yeah, my issue with Lightfall, and especially it was always with Neomuna, and ever since they brought up Neomuna when they revealed it during the Witch Queen like season year or whatever, it always bothered me that I felt like Neomuna should have came in either before Lightfall or after Lightfall. It shouldn't be the focus of Lightfall because I don't want to go through all the story beats because I've already ranted and raved to my friend about it. But more or less everything it just the idea is that okay, there's urgency. We gotta get to the veil. We gotta stop the witness. Gotta stop college. Go 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 go. But there's no explaining of anything. Um, like all we know is that the radio mass can create a link to the veil, which is bad. But we don't know why it's bad. We don't know what the veil is. We don't know what the purpose of the witness is. Like there's a lot of things that are bad. Another like criticism too is the opening cutscene for a space battle was pretty fucking weak. We had Amanda Holiday and then the three Guardians in the little from the season of Seraph cutscene. Like those guys, they died by the way. They're dead forever. Um, and I'm thinking like that was it. It was like those ships, a little pulse, and then that's it. Where's like the space armada? Like what? Like compare the opening to Lightfall to the opening of Taken King, where you have all the harbingers and it's a huge ass space. Like where's the difference? Like I don't know. It just felt really shitty. Another thing too is the time frame of Lightfall is very confusing because Pyramid ships send out a shockwave, the helm puts up the blast shields or whatever, and Zavala and crew are just stuck in the helm, right? And then after Lightfall, where we lose or whatever the fuck, the blast shields come down. So does that mean they've just been waiting the helm for like the entirety of Lightfall? Because I don't know if Lightfall takes an hour, takes days. Like there's a training montage in there at some point. So I don't know what the fuck. Very confusing. But again, my biggest criticism about Lightfall is that it wasn't about the people and things that I think people would care about and want to focus on. It was about something completely different or whatever. Um Again, I thought the focus of Lightfall was going to be on the Witness and on Callus. Like I know Neo Muna, but I thought if there's a lot to say here, and I don't want to be rambling. I know I like to ramble a lot, but I want to be trying to focus here, so it's not complete. Like oh, this guy's just rambling. But the way again, like I said, mentioned earlier about where I'd place Neo Muna, all that bullshit before or after Lightfall, is because again, it seems weird that the Witness is here attacking the Traveler in Earth's orbit, and it's like the final battle. But yet we're gonna hitch a ride to Neptune away from the Witness to do some other Veil bullshit. And I know they said, oh well, it didn't matter if you're there anyways, because the Witness could just instantly kill you. I get that, but it still just seems wrong. Um, again, if I were had the keys to the kingdom, I would make Lightfall focus on the battle between the Witness and the Traveler on Earth or whatever, some bullshit, and then have Neo Muna come in after. Like, let's say at the end of Lightfall we lose, the Witness is that bullshit he does with the Traveler at the end or whatever, and then you get a radio message like, "Hey, we're a secret society on Neo Muna, and we have a paracausal power that can help you stop the Witness," and then you go to Neo Muna after Lightfall. That makes sense. Or you go to Neo Muna before Lightfall because like, hey, the Witness is already here. It's like passing by Jupiter. There's a transmission about some paracausal bullshit on Neptune, and we got to go investigate it before the Witness even gets there or whatever. Something like that. Another thing too is Neomuna. It's like the Wakanda problem, where I find it really hard to believe that a city like that could just be hidden for so fucking long, especially the World of Destiny, where if you die, you have the potential to become a guardian, and people die everywhere, and as we learned, the Cloud Striders die every 10 years. So I'm surprised there's never been a guardian that's been resurrected on Neptune in that city in particular. Now again, you can say, oh well, most of the people are in the cryogenic storage in the Cloud Ark, so they don't die, but still, the Cloud Striders died. So I'm surprised the Cloud Strider never came back as a guardian. Um, Again, my only like cope or cop out, I guess Bungie could say later down the line, is that the veil has some weird properties that prevent ghosts from resurrecting it, or something. I don't know. It felt like the story just felt weird and just off and out of place. It wasn't the worst story. Again, I'm not saying this is, oh my god, it's the worst thing ever, but it just stepped down from Witch Queen. That's the best way I can describe the story. In terms of gameplay, Downfall, Headlong, and Desperate Measures. I named those three missions in particular because on Legendary, those three missions were fucking evil. Downfall, when you're in the room with Emperor Cal doing the projection and shit, those enemies spawn forever. Well, not all of them, but the two Taken Centurions spawn, or I think they're Centurions. Oh no, Phalanx, no, Centurions, yeah. They spawn forever, like on time intervals, and they spam the living fuck out of Axiom Darts. I don't know what the hell. I don't remember it being that bad. I know they increased like the enemy like animation speed or some shit, but they kept spawning Axiom Darts, and that was horrible. I got through it, obviously, I've done it. Headlong, I think we all know what Headlong fucking sucks. The final boss room, the Vex keeps spawning, the boss has like a line rifle, like it sucks. I didn't know about the gate cheese, so I just did it like with blinding grenades. Like blinding grenades are fucking clutch. I know they're called disorienting grenades, but they were clutch for that mission. And then Desperate Measures. Final boss with Callus. Those checkpoints. Also, the checkpoints in these fucking legendary missions are brutal. Because Callus has two phases, and if you die in the second phase, you gotta do it all the way from the beginning. And, yeah, that was a brutal boss fight. And again, now it's going to tie into how I feel about Strand. Strand reminds me of, and this is, it's kind of a bad example to use like a Warframe thing, because I know not a lot of people play Warframe. However, I know there's an overlap from Warframe to Destiny. I play both. I know a lot of people play both. But the point is, like Titania versus Ureli and then the Goss, right? Titania was designed before open worlds were in mind, and she can turn into like a little arc ring, little butterfly lady, fly around and kill shit. She's very nimble, very fast. Goss was designed with open worlds in mind because he came out after open worlds were invented. So clearly his abilities, like Mach Rush, where you're going to run around like the Flash in open worlds, it's made for open worlds. It feels good in open worlds. But in the tile set, it's a little bit clunky, but it's bearable. Ureli has the functionality of K-Drive, so she feels horrible in close core and like normal tile sets, but okay in open worlds, right? That's how I feel about Strand right now, where the missions where you want to use Strand and you're not using Strand feels fucking bad. Like fighting, I didn't even mention the Tormentors too. I think they're fun. But fighting the Tormentors for the Callus boss fight, if you didn't have Strand or you got suppressed by the slam and you got knocked off, you were dead. There's nothing you could do. And that felt horrible. I know they want you to lean into using Strand for the campaign mission, but again, a lot of those arenas felt like, man, you're really gonna have to use Strand or else you're fucked. And now I know definitely because of light level difference. If it's on normal and I didn't take like extra damage, sure, I could probably do it on whatever. But just for my legendary experience, I think Tormentors are pretty cool. I think I like them more than the Lucent Brood, because they don't have like the bullshit one-shot grenades, like, you know what I mean? And they do have suppression, which does suck, because I find it funny that 2 out of the 3 new supers are like melee based, and if you get too close, you can just spam the suppressing attack. I do think the cool like grab animation thing's really cool. I don't know if you can break out of it early though. Hopefully you can, because it seems like you're just kind of dead if that happens. But they have a very good visual, like you can know, what the fuck they're doing. They're not gonna do something you didn't expect. Like they're very choreographed. They're very good. I like them a lot. I think Tormentors are cool. And then talking about Strand specifically, I think Hunter Strand's the most fun, but in terms of like the most effective, it's still in the air. Maybe I'm leaning towards Warlocks. because they have the range melee, and then they can do the threadlings bullshit with the rift, maybe. But my main issue with Strand, I'm pretty sure everyone said this, is that grapple has a. It feels good when you're Strand empowered, because Strand is unique in the way that it's mostly about abilities rather than guns. Like every other subclass we have is like the guns kind of supplement the abilities. I know there's exceptions like Starfire Protocol builds where you just spam fusion grenades, but however your guns are also facilitating that because you have to have like a high fire rate weapon helps or damage with time weapon helps. But it, and or the Touch of Thunder, like I get like build, but those are like far and few between. But like with Strand specifically, all the subclasses feel their best when you're just constantly spamming abilities, unraveling, throwing tangles, grappling, to like spamming abilities, right? And your guns don't feel as necessary. So when you don't have Strand empowered and you have like the natural cooldowns, like I think I don't have I have Strand unlocked, but I'm on my PlayStation, so I don't have the expansion. And I'm on my PlayStation because it's easier to record if you're wondering why. But I think the max cooldown 10 discipline is 1 minute for grapple, which fucking blows because again grapple's really fun. And if you can't, and another thing issue I have with Strand is that grapple is very fun, but also has the grapple melee, which is very useful, good for repositioning, does pretty good damage, can like stagger people. And if you're using the other two grenades, the shackle or the threadling grenade, you don't have access to that cool tech anymore. You can't grapple melee, so I don't know if they're gonna either just reduce the cooldown a lot, or they're gonna leave it as is, or they're gonna make it so you have to, like, if you could grapple another one, use a different grenade, because it'd be nice to have. But I don't know. There's a lot of things they could do, but I think they should definitely lower the cooldowns for grapple. With the other abilities, I'm not so sure, maybe, but it did feel fun being able to like spam abilities, throw your rope dart, grapple around. It was really fun. It's really fun when you can use Strand like that. Um, I will say though, I think the strongest thing about Strand is the spend. Like I know there's what's the slicing one, like where you like I forget sundered or some bullshit, and then unraveled or something. Like that's cool. Where you do like the little things that attack them when you keep damaging target, kind of like Jolt. But suspend is uniquely broken, and the fact that it is a better stasis freeze, because stasis freeze, when you freeze this target stasis, yeah, they stop moving. They're encased in ice. You can hit there, you can get some free shots on them. But at some point, you do enough damage, they break out, and you do get the bonus damage from shattering them, but they break out. With suspend, it's all timer based. You can shove 8 Izanagi shots into them, and they're not breaking. They're not gonna be unsuspended. It's all just based on time, and it can be extended if you have another person doing a suspending thing. So that is really good. And suspend also completely like makes you not have to worry about over barrier or unstoppable champions because of the new system, like all the subclass verbs have some form of like stopping champions. And for Strand, I think they have unraveling rounds are for barrier, and then just suspending someone is for unstoppables. Uh, Again, it's like why stasis was good for why chill clip was good for bear champions, because when you suspend them, they cannot move, they cannot do anything, which means a bear champion can activate their barriers. So if you suspend a bear champion and you kill it instantly, then you don't have to bring anti-barrier. All you have to do is suspend them, and they don't have the chance to put up their barrier. And again, it automatically stuns unstoppable. So the only ones you really have to bring is overload. And I know the Titan with the something's leash or whatever, the boots you get from the legendary campaign, they give you like 3 seeking projectiles, so you can do it that way. The hunter has the dive. I don't think Warlock has anything that suspends, so they have to use a shackle grenade. But yeah, suspend is really fucking strong. Like if anything's gonna get nerfed for Strand immediately, probably that one, because that literally just shits on 2 champion types. Now, do I want it to be nerfed? No, because I hate champions and I think it's fucking fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how I feel about Strand. I think it's fun. I know a complaint was definitely like the give and take of Strand, like where you'd have it, you'd be having fun, and then just take it away from you. I get it. I kind of like the idea though that you're building up Strand, like unlike Stasis where you kind of just like, oh, here's all your Stasis abilities, and then like that's it. The way I would have done it though is like you start off with you first develop your melee skill, and then you have your melee, then you develop the grapple, then your class. Like I maybe like that, but I know some people just would rather just have it the other way. Just saying, just that's how I do it. Um, I think that's all the story stuff, all the gameplay stuff. I've not touched Season of Defiance at all. I do think the where the hell is the season? The fucking bow. This one is very fun, especially with Behemoth Titan and using the new exotic helmet for Diamond Lance. More or less, it's a lightweight blow, but when you get kills, you get like some charges, hailstone or something. Hailstorm. And when you hit fire, you shoot out. If you hit a target, they freeze. If you hit environment, they create a glacier grenade. Very fun. Apparently, I think the catalyst gives you faster draw speed when you freeze something. So it might go like it might be like a hierarchy situation where you get like really fast draw speed. Um, so yeah, really good. I don't know anything else about Season Defiance. All I know is that Devon K is back and the farm's relevant again or some shit. Uh, Again, I don't think the campaign was the worst. There was definitely some fun moments. A holdout at the during Desperate Measures. Headlong had the cool little battle ready soundtrack and doing a little montage and shit. That was kind of cool. Like it's not the worst campaign, but I just think Witch Queen did it better. Um, the actual city of Neomuna. Again, the issue is if you're not using Strand, it fucking is a slug to traverse. You know, you have to use like your Sparrow everywhere. And again, because if you don't have the grapple points from a hunter or the natural grapple points in Neomuna, using Strand to get around kind of feels clunky too. I will say the thing that I did not like though was I was doing because I did make an initial video about Lightfall, but then I didn't release it because I didn't do any of the post campaign stuff. I just did all the legendary and all my characters. But a lot of the post campaign like shit is really annoying because I get the idea that they want you to familiarize yourself with each area of Neomuna, so you know you're gonna do some patrols here, some public events there, but they make you do so fucking much that it like I say this with everything, every season Bungie or every time they make a new activity or something, people hate it because Bungie forces you to keep doing it until you hate it. Like I don't think the overload or terminal overload is a bad thing, but when I had to do like 3 fucking times and have to wait 2 more days to get these 2 done so I get the stasis glaive, fuck it, I'm starting to not like it already. Same with like the patrols and all this other shit. When for the was it the rhythmic the void machine gun, it was one of the exotic I think it was for the no, it was for this one, it was for the Strider quest. um there I think the step was called Maelstrom, where you had to do like public events and lost sectors and bullshit, but like a lost sector give you 4% and like a public event gives you 6. So if you do only lost sectors that's 25, and like only public events that's like a number. I'm not really good at multiples of 6, but the point is that took way too fucking long. That was way too fucking long, and they could cut that shit out. Like they could cut that shit in half. And I'd still hate it. The lost sectors are pretty cool, but that brings up the question about like lost sector farming, and because again, I'm pretty sure the drop chances for Legend is like 26, Masters 36. Some of those lost sectors are like really fucking long, and especially with light levels and all like burns and shit, they're gonna be even longer. So you know, spending 5 minutes just to get nothing on Legend is gonna feel pretty bad. And I know not all lost sectors are made easy. Like Chamber of Starlight could take something like 30 seconds, while this one could while the Thriller Dome one could take something like 5 minutes. So I get like they don't want to, you know, maybe they could balance it separately, but then they should just increase the fucking drop rates. Also, another thing, like with the Division, you should be able to just fucking choose whatever armor you want to farm that day. If I go to Terminus, or if I go to the Thriller Dome Lost Sector and it's the Lost Sector this week, I say, you know what, I want some new Speed Loader threads or some shit, or Speed Loader slacks. Then I should be able to change it to the legs and just farm it. They need to address that shit too. The armor charge system. The best way I can describe it is that it is a very dumbed down, simplified version of what we had, and we lost kind of a lot. But I guess the idea is to help encourage people to like to make it a lot less intimidating to get into build crafting. However, I feel like they could have done that without gutting the old armor system we had. And also the artifact mod kind of just does your builds for you. Like let's see. Like, let's say you wanted to use, yeah, like I looked at the fire, like you could use flare up, rain of firebolts, and then like the solar mods or whatever, and then now you have like just a build setup. Like I feel like the builds really do come from the artifact instead of like the mod. Like I feel like maybe not rain of firebolts, but maybe like flare up or something could have been like a artifact mod or a fragment or something instead of an artifact mod. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, honestly. The way I like the old system better because you could stack damage from different sources, and if you're more knowledgeable, you could do some cool shit. And the only real issue I had with the old system was the elemental affinity. That's why I have like all these class items, you know, masterworks, because I needed a stasis one for this one, a solar one for this one. And if they just got rid of that, I think that would have been fine. The build system would have been fine. Just decrease the cost and then just make it no elemental affinities. But the way it works now is that it's all about orbs of power. you have your siphon mods, right, which give you orbs of power on like kills or whatever. So if you get a kill, you get an orb, and then you just choose a mod that does something. Oh, you have the mobility armor charge. So when I get an armor charge, I get a better mobility. Or you have the one where you take less damage if you're shelter from the void, basically. If you're critically wounded, or you have increased resilience. That's pretty much it. And your armor charges decay now or something. Um, Also, another thing too is that they need to put fucking number values on this shit. Like, you gain bonus to resilience. Is that like a single tier? Is that tier one tier? Is it two tiers? Is this like, oh, you gain temporary damage reduction? Is it 20%? Is it 10%? Is it 5%? They need to have numbers on here instead of just you have damage reduction. Like, that should be there too. Loadouts are nice, I guess. It is pretty nice. However, it would be nice to name these like custom names. Like I could name, because this one is Backrus. This is my Backrus Stasis Hunter build, and this one is my Renewal Grass Stasis. They're both stasis, but they both have a different playstyle. So it'd be nice to be able to name them. It is nice though. It's pretty seamless to switch between the two. Like I can just go from this to like this. It's pretty seamless. So that's pretty cool. Like you just go like this. That's pretty much it with the loadout stuff. Just to circle back to my thing about the old system, what I liked about the old system is that you had like three distinct avenues. You had Warmind cells, you had the Charge of Light system, and then you had Elemental Wells, and then you had mods that could combine, and then you could have hybrid builds. Like for instance, for Spout the Watcher, I used the hybrid build of Charge of Light and Elemental Wells. I'd use a melee well maker to get myself a solar well. Then I'd have Elemental Charge, which would give me 2 stacks of Charge of Light, which would then become a High Energy Fire, which is a Charge of Light mod. So now I get permanent 20% damage as long as I don't kill anything, which is good for a boss fight, because you're not going to instantly kill a boss. And then I could throw in Font to Might, and like so. I liked that system better. There's definitely three clear build paths, but they could intermingle and stuff. With this one, just like pick up an Orb of Light, and now you have a thing, and it's like that's really really basic. Hopefully they add more mods. But yeah, I forgot to talk about Nimbus. I don't like Nimbus. I know everyone doesn't like Nimbus either. Yeah, I think like the moment I met Rohan and Nimbus, I'm like, yeah, I've noticed that. I think everyone knew Rohan was gonna fucking die, dude. This guy literally said, oh, I'm basically one day from my retirement, because Cloud Striders die every 10 years or something. And he's like, oh, this is my 9th year playing. Like, yeah, he's gonna fucking die. Like I think Nimbus gets a lot of Nimbus' character builds a lot more post campaign, but again, I feel like that should have been done pre or during the campaign instead of post, because again, he's just throwing out jokes and shit. And it's like, dude, now's not the fucking time. I know everyone wants a Cade 6 or like that. Now's not the fucking time, dude. Like, no. That's whatever. I did think the rhythmic chaos machine gun, I thought it was pretty cool to going back to the Black Garden, the Garden of Salvation raid, but backwards. I thought that was pretty cool. The partition overload partition heart, that was pretty cool mission where you're like kind of like a mini sparrow racing thing, and you gotta kill stuff. Really cool. Let's see. I haven't done this one yet. I don't know if this is like the headlong, the last part of that mission, but whatever. That's the weekly mission. But yeah, the new strike was pretty cool. Again, I'm a fanboy for the Vex. I love the Vex. I thought that was pretty cool. Soundtrack was cool too. Nezrak coming back was something I didn't really expect after what happened with Season of Plunder. I thought they just wrote his ass off because they drank his body into tea, and I guess, but that's cool. Probably going to be the raid boss, because apparently the raid boss is called something Nightmares, and Nezrak talk about pain, terror, nightmares or some bullshit. And if you didn't know, if you hear those unintelligible whispers, and you have Nezrak's Sin equipped or Nezrak's Whispered Glaive, you can actually hear what he says. It's pretty cool. I believe the Maya's retreat place, he talks every so often, so if you just want to sit there and like listen to some like lore and shit, he says some pretty interesting stuff. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I wasn't expecting Nezrak to come back. Also, the interlude stuff was pretty cool. Like after a mission, you could hear characters' thoughts and shit. Again, they definitely made Kaido a lot more likable too. Like, that was really cool having that final stand moment with her and her saving you from that in Downfall or whatever. So I'm not saying it's the worst campaign, but it's just I really felt like Lightfall should have just focused on the Witness, the Darkness, the Traveler, Earth. Like, just the immediate. Now let's go off to some fucking city on Neptune. Because, again, I know I keep harping back on the story, because I really think that's the weakest part of this expansion. But it's just, again, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to nitpick every single detail. But, again, just such like basic. Like the first thing I thought on my mind is like, wait a minute. Why would the Witness go from Jupiter to Earth only to send Callus back to Neptune? Why don't you just send Callus to Neptune, like immediately, and then just go straight to Earth? Because, or why not just Witness come, they go to Neo Moon and just instantly kill everyone and take the veil? And you can say, okay, well maybe he needs to do some ritual bullshit with the Traveler first and has his disciples do it. But again, why send Callus back after they've been to Earth? Also, another thing too is that like the Neomuna really wasn't a secret then, because Witness like, oh, just go over to Neomuna, and I know like apparently he's looking through the logs and Spiral Watcher and shit, but it's just like instant like that, like, hey, go to Neomuna, right? Also the Polka thing, again, how is Neomuna a secret to the Exo Stranger? She has one. Did she not know where she got one from? Oh, the Nine just gave it to her or some shit. Like I don't know. And also the Exo Strangers like from the future. Like none of this happened in any of the Dark Timelines or some shit. Like I don't. There's so many like I don't know if they're plot holes or there's so many questions that I just immediately like why didn't this just happen or why did you do that? Again the radio mass and then in the end like all they needed was a ghost. Like I mean they did foreshadow this like a lot. Like again back in season of Rivals even before that even in Shadowkeep where like your ghost got taken over by the Witness. Like they've been foreshadowing this for a long time, but just all it took was just one ghost to connect to the veil and that's it I guess because it's an artifact of the light or some bullshit and that's it. Like then why even go through all the trouble? Just trick the Guardian into saying, hey, uh, literally just have the like if the Witness could take control of Ghost and Ghost connect made the force of the veil and that's it, right? Then why even stop us from going to the veil? Because the entire point was to safeguard the veil, so we'd probably just go to the veil anyways. And then at that point, you'd be like, "Oh, your Ghost, and takes over," and then whatever, right? I just or like the part and this really annoyed me. The part where Ghost started talking with the Witness voice and says, "Oh, finally, whatever," and it starts floating off. The fact that nobody, Keitel, Nimbus, or your Guardian, does not be like, "What the fuck is my Ghost? Why is my Ghost flying towards the veil?" Like immediately, right? And then Nimbus waits after it forges a connection to get on his board and like grab. Like, I just. How did like just there's so much shit that like with that story that this story just really annoys me in a certain kind of way, and again it's because if I could sum up Lightfall in 2 words, I think it blue-balled people. It blue-balled a lot of fucking people. Because here's like the final battle. Really interesting shit could happen here. But we're going to some other fucking place to meet some people that I don't fucking care about. I don't care about any of this shit. I want to deal with the Witness and this darkness bullshit, you know? Um, but that's pretty much Lightfall's campaign. That's okay. I've been harping on it for too long. But I mean, post campaign stuff so far. There's um the rhythmic chaos exotic machine gun. I just got that. It's pretty cool. Um, there's the stasis glaive that apparently does really good damage, and then there's the final warning that you get from unlocking all the strand fragments, which they unlocked yesterday. So now all I have to do to unlock strand, you have to get these strand medallions, which encourage you to use strand, I guess. So that's something. I mean, I guess this is better. I don't know if it's better or worse than spending Glimmer because these all these fragments are character based, not account based for some fucking reason. So even with the new ones from my core, like you're gonna be pretty Glimmer poor because they're pretty expensive, like 25,000 each. So there's that. There's also this thing that tracks how many engrams you have or something. So that's cool. I thought this would take away this right here, but I guess not. But that's pretty much it. That's Lightfall. Definitely disappointing. I will say that. It's not the worst expansion. No, obviously not the worst expansion. But it was definitely disappointing. I felt like they could have done more. They did release a TWAB yesterday talking about how this season, this seasonal like year storyline will explain the Witness and the Veil and stuff. But again, that just raised a question. Isn't that just ass backwards? Shouldn't we have learned about this shit before the Witness arrived to really like emphasize that, oh, this guy's a really big fucking deal? Why are we learning about this shit after he's already gone into the travel and done all his other bullshit, right? Like I don't. Again, it seems ass backwards. It seems like this shit should have the motivation, the Witness, all this should have been explored before Lightfall and after Lightfall. It's weird. Um, and then Cape just ends so abruptly. Oh, you see this cutscene. You go to the towers. Well, I was like, oh, I guess the Traveler's fucking gone. And then I like, I guess the Traveler's gone or dead or whatever the fuck. It's whatever. I did think it was pretty cool to see the Vox Obscura prophecy play out exactly like it did. Because again, it talked about Leviathan returning, Aramis being revived, ships, the city besieged, which I'm assuming was Neomuna, and then the Traveler infected by darkness was the end of Lightfall. So I thought that was pretty cool. I think the Valid Disciple prophecy wall also talked about that too, how the Witness was going to commune with the Traveler, some bullshit. Um, I know lore boys are in shambles right now. I know no one knows what the fuck the Veil is, because that last time I remember the Veil was like Destiny 1. It was like I thought it was a concept art for like another enemy faction like the Moth People or something. That's the only thing I can remember about the Veil. Um, and then apparently the prototype Veil is a black heart, so I guess that's a way to like kind of explain what the fuck the black heart was. But oh, and then yeah, the Cloud Arc too. Like I don't get how there's a city, but they all decide to live inside a virtual reality world. And why even build a city? Like I just don't get it. There's a lot of things that need to be explained, and this is literally like this the second to last expansion. And I thought they would start answering questions instead of raising more, because again, originally Lightfall was supposed to be the end of Destiny, like in general, like the 10-year thing. And I know they have Final Shape, but I feel like this should have been the expansion to answer not every question, I guess, because he had one more after this, but to answer quite a bit. I don't think you should have been raising all these questions. Cloud Striders too, they're confusing to me. Okay, I get they die every 10 years, but why there's only two of them, right? Like whatever. Whatever. So many questions, not enough answers. But that's Lightfall. Kind of blue balled, to be honest. Kind of annoyed. And there goes my theory about Lightfall, because I said in that video I never uploaded that. Yeah, my prediction was that that at the end of Lightfall, the Traveler and the Darkner and the Witness would either take each other out or severely weaken themselves, or basically take themselves out of the equation for the Vex to basically become the main like enemy faction. And maybe that's going to happen at season 23 or the one before Final Shape, because if you don't know, the reason why I like the Vex so much, I like the Vex in general, but another cool like thing, another thing to fanboy over about the Vex is, sorry, I'm not used to this menu because I'm dumb. Lore. There's a very cool lore book. I think it's called. I think it's in the darkness. Where is it? No, that's not it. There, this one, The Unveiling. I think it's my favorite lore book. And the premise is that either I think it's the darkness, not the Witness talking to you, and it's basically him talking a lot of philosophical questions, like, and basically explaining why the world, why the universe of Destiny exists the way it does. Like, why are things the way they are? And there's like a lot of interesting one. Obviously the Final Shape comes up, the first knife, which I think is talking about the Witness, and then this is my favorite one, P53, very good read, but obviously the Final Shape. So long story short, the Final Shape is the Vex, because as I'm not going to read this lore card, but if you read through it, basically long story short, the Gardener, the Traveler in this case, keeps getting upset because every time they play this flower game, one pattern emerges, and there's a line right here. Sorry, the flower game. At the end of this lore card, the Gardener became Vex. Clearly intentional. They could have said, "Oh, the Gardener became pissed off." The Gardener, no, they said Vex. Obviously, the Vex is the Final Shape because they keep winning every time they play this game. So the reason why the Destiny universe exists is because the Vex kept winning. So they said, "Fuck it." Travis like, "What if we got involved and we changed it so that there wouldn't be just a Final Shape?" And that's why I think the Vex were going to be the Final Shape. But after the end of Lightfall, I don't know what the fuck the plans are for the Vex or whatever. I always thought they were the main antagonist from the beginning of Destiny 1. But I don't know. I don't know where what the Final Shape's gonna be. I really do hope it's Vex. I really do hope it's Vex. I think the Vex are cool. Again, they're the oldest. They're the first and the oldest life forms in the universe. Again, according to this lore book, they're like the first things ever made. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. That's Lightfall. More or less, if you're on the fence about Lightfall, I mean, it doesn't. I think you should get it. Strand's pretty fun. The guns are all right. Definitely, it's like with Beyond Light. The main selling point is definitely a new subclass for sure. Definitely has some end game viability from what I could tell. It's not like just some meme like, aha, fly around and then die instantly. Like, no, it has some juice in there. There's some good stuff in there. But yeah. Also, I didn't buy the annual pass or the dungeon key, so I'm gonna have to buy those individually. Kind of shit that they did the dungeon keys thing, but I do like my dungeons. I do like my day one dungeon experience, so I'll just buy the dungeon keys. Again, I'm surprised I had Season of Defiance because I just bought the $50 version. So I'm surprised when I had the seasonal thing. I guess you just get the first season for free, or I guess maybe it's factored in the cost. So that's $50. Um, but yeah, like I'm gonna wait to see for the seasonal model because again, I'm just tired of seasons. I know they're gonna switch it up at Season of the Deep or whatever, but it really sucks to go like with Witch Queen, like to go from you can go through the story missions at your pace and do what the fuck you want to like, oh, and I have to do something, wait a week, do something like. I'm really tired of that. I'm tired of all this time getting bullshit. If I want to burn through all the fucking content in a day, let me do it, dude. Just let me do it. I just don't let people have the freedom to play the way they want to play, you know. But that's it. That's Lightfall for you. Again, definitely disappointed. Not the end of the world, obviously. It's not the worst expansion, but man, it could have been. I was so wrong with my prediction. I was way off. I thought it was gonna be something completely different. But I did have that feeling. Again, probably should upload that video maybe. But I definitely have that feeling like they keep not talking about Neo Moon. It's like I don't give a fuck about this shit. I just want to deal with the witness and crap. But yeah, that's it. Oh, also, last little thing. Thanks for watching that. That's the end of the video. But Forerunner, after the kinetic buffs, fucking nice. This gun's so much fun. Oh, I always liked it, but man, after the kinetic buffs, this is fun as shit. And the rock grenade also counts as kinetic. So if you have a disruption break and you throw the rock grenade, does stupid damage. Very fun gun. You should try getting the rock catalyst. It's a pain in the ass to get. Anyways, that's it. Yeah, thanks for watching.